The storm raged on outside as a young girl tossed and turned, plagued by horrible monsters and tales conjured up by her own mind. The figments of her imagination continued to torment her until she inevitably woke up in a cold sweat. Having just awoken from one nightmare, the girl was less than pleased to be thrown straight into another. She rose from her bed slowly, flinching as the room lit up for a split second, thunder rolling in to accompany it almost immediately. The child continued to move through her home, quiet as not awake any of the dogs. She set her destination for her mother's room across the hall. As she approached the door, she questioned whether she should go to the trouble of waking her mother up or not. Despite the conclusion of her inner turmoil, she entered to find her mother sat on her bed reading with one of their dogs at her side. The older woman looked up from her book to see what was happening and put the book on the side. "What is it, dear? Did the storm wake you?" The concern in her voice was evident. She wasn't sure what she could do for her only child, nor did she know what awoke her. The best she could do was ask and offer comfort.
I had a nightmare. Can I sleep here with you?
The girl's voice was barely above a whisper as she looked up at her mother with glassy eyes. "Of course, darling. You don't need to ask. No matter what, I'm here." "Would you like me to tell you a story?" Her daughter had no idea how grateful she was that she told her off the bat how to help. Parenting was hard with her husband, and it was even harder without him.
Yeah, I'd like that.
"Have I ever told you about how our home ended up the way it was?" The mother questioned as she ran her hands through her daughter's hair. With the small shake of her child's head, the mother lightly laughed. "Well, I'll tell you about that then." The young girl looked up at her mother hopefully, urging her to continue. Hundreds of years ago, there was a disaster, which changed the world. It caused havoc in many ways, whether it be the way those who survived lived their lives, or how the natural balance was thrown off. Monsters appeared and began to roam the lands, making it harder to gain a footing in this brave new world. Eventually, a settlement was created from ground zero of the disaster, and a magical barrier was created to protect all of those who lived within. We are now what is left of those brave survivors, and most of us will do what it takes to keep the peace. The older woman closed her eyes as she finished, taking a breath, only to realize that her child had closed her eyes as well. While she slept, her mother sat and stared at her, happy to have her in her life and glad that she trusted her.